Can identifying and leveraging your strengths have a profound impact on your success? Stay tuned and find out.
Welcome. Okay, here's the question. You serious? How are we dark horses? You know, the ones everyone is betting against, the ones they don't expect to win, place, or even show on the track, and they'll even laugh on us when we talk about trying. How do we show the world our greatness and triumph? Come on. Well, that's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. This is The Dark Horse Entrepreneur. My name is Tracy Brinkman.
And push it up. What is up? What is up? What is up, my Dark Horse friends and family? Welcome back to your ongoing dose of strength training learning. I'm your Dark Horse host, Tracy Brinkman. You know that. That's not important. What's really important is you. You are a driven entrepreneur or one in the making. Either way, you're here because you're ready to start, restart, kickstart, and just start leveling up with some great marketing, personal, and business tips, as well as results in order to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it absolutely deserves to be. That's why I'm here hitting you with yet another solo success episode coming to you straight from the Dark Horse HQ as we dive deep into success with actionable advice, tips, and steps designed to help you level up your game, your business game, your personal game, your personal relationship game, all those games. Because as we already know, there are no shortcuts to success in any game except for taking those little steps towards your goal every single day. Speaking of little steps, I want you to take a little step for me because I know you're getting value from this podcast, right? I say that with confidence because I really believe that there are folks out there getting value. And if you are getting value, you need to tell those podcast platforms that you are getting that value. And the way you do that is you go on down there, you hit that subscribe button. You go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating and drop us some kind words in the reviews. It is those subscribes, ratings, and reviews is your way of telling those podcast platforms out there that you are getting that value. So they lift us up a little bit in the rankings so that we can reach more driven entrepreneurs just like yourself. So please take a moment, show the love. I definitely appreciate you. All right. So episode 331, the previous interview episode, Gina was talking about knowing her strengths and leveraging her strengths. I wanted to spend a little time chatting about that because, you know, when you bring your strengths into play, you really up your level of confidence, right? And you're able to naturally be more effective in achieving everything you're going after, your short-term goals, your long-term goals, your relationship goals, your personal development goals, your physical, spiritual, all those things, man, it just kicks it up a notch. Now, what I want to say here, I believe everyone has strengths, right? We all have strengths. But I think the real struggle is how many of us have taken the time to determine what those strengths are, right? And it's not as simple as asking what you're good at. You have to look under this. You got to peel that onion back a little bit. You got to look a little more deeply than just the skills and talents that you may possess. You're going to have to peek into your characteristics, your motivations, you know, those things that kind of make you unique, make you you. So that's why you're listening today, right? Yeah. Okay. So like I said, I think each of us have unique strengths, right? And if we can define those and we can foster them, right, we can live out that best life that was designed for us, that was set out for us. I know there are those that believe that we have a destiny. And you know what? I think at some level, I can agree with that. I think there may be a mission that we can accomplish, and maybe that mission changes over the years as things happen and the world shifts and the universe moves from one space to another. No pun intended. But I think we have to find it in ourselves and combine our talents and our skills and our abilities and our strengths in order to make that destiny come to fruition. And our strengths, like I mentioned earlier, they're not the same as talents. And let me explain that real quickly. I think if you look at athletes out there are athletes that have a natural ability to play basketball, play football, run, right? Jump higher, run faster. But how many of those folks have you seen that have a natural ability and it goes to waste? Yeah, right. We can all think of someone almost instantly when you think of someone who has a natural ability. I knew a gentleman back in the, 90s, had an amazing artistic ability and actually did a portrait of my daughter Krista when she was still alive. And it was just beautiful. And he pissed it away. Pardon my French, just the way it was. Because he didn't have the strengths to take that ability and go somewhere. He didn't have that mental toughness that enabled him to put in the hours to turn his talent into a business, into a life, right? You've got to have a certain fortitude to make that happen. You gotta go through the muck and the mire of paying your dues, you could say. And it's those lucky few that have the ability to dig around, locate their strengths, leverage those strengths, and turn their dreams into a reality or even into a career. And I think it really comes down to the fact that it's these same strengths that enable to, that I know when I was able to identify them many, many moons ago and re-identify them. Sometimes, personal development, you fall back. You take a step back in order to take a step forward. But, when I found my strengths, I was able to lean into them during those troublesome times, during those setback times, and all right, I'm Mr. Positive. I can get through this. What's the lesson I can learn, right? All those things, you can lean into them when your talent isn't enough. Because we've all heard it, right? Talent can only take you so far. It's going to be your determination, your commitment, your ability to be agile as the world and landscape shifts and slides around you that's going to get you through the ups, the downs, the rights, the lefts, the stumbles, bumbles, falls, and face plants, the long haul, right? Through life. So, all right, we babble on here about 7 minutes about strengths. What are strengths? Well, let's give you some outlines that you can maybe say, oh, I know what he's talking about. If it's some part of you that you can grow and expand when you exercise it, I don't mean exercise like in doing bicep curls, but when you utilize it and you challenge it, that you find it grows, right? So if I use my motivation, I'm generally a very positive guy, and I sometimes have to lean into that. So I push, I exercise it, and I find that it works and it grows and it benefits me. Something that you do well and you love doing. I love being in a good mood. There's just something really cool about it. I love finding a positive angle. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a realist, right? I keep myself in check. But if it's something you love doing well and that you love doing, it's probably a strength. I think it's something that you can do over and over and over again and still maintain that level of excellence that you desire. Anything that you do well that leaves you positively charged, right? It leaves you just energized. You're like, oh man, you're like a little kid on Christmas. You're just like, let's go open the presents, right? Something that you do or some aspect that when you lean into it, it builds that energy up. Something that fulfills you, be it a personal need or a personal goal, man, those are strengths, right? Something that usually evokes some positive response from others. Man, Tracy, you are always so up about things, right? Whatever it is, you'll hear those words coming to you. People might say, man, every time I come to you, you always are willing to listen. That's a strength, man. You need to use it. And I think the one I want to make sure, probably should have mentioned this one first, but I'm going to save the best for last. It's something, that causes you to lose time when you're involved in a task or a job or an exercise that accesses that strength. I know I can use an example of, I used to give, I still do on occasion, give motivational speeches. I love getting in front of an audience. And, usually you're giving a 5, 12-minute speech. There was one time I was challenged to give a 30-minute presentation, and I decided I was going to do it free form, no PowerPoints, no slides or anything like that. I just wanted to get up there, engage the audience with me, my content, my voice, my message, my body language. And it seemed like it was like over that quick because I was accessing my strengths. All right, I get it, Tracy. I get it. I can hear you now, right? How do I identify and these strengths and these weaknesses, and how do I start leverage my unique abilities? Well, that, my friend, is a great question, and let's get into that now. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about being self-aware. I know. I'm sorry. I gotta call them as I see them. But here's the thing: being self-aware provides that first, all too important step to identifying your strengths and your weaknesses. And this comes, my friends, with a huge payoff. When you can see yourself clearly, I don't care if you just pull back the covers, pull back the curtain, and look yourself dead in the eye, you're going to feel more confident, and it's going to enhance your creativity. And I say this in all honesty because, trust me, you've heard my story. There's dark times in my past, right? You don't come out of the seedy side of the drug scene in Los Angeles chock full of confidence and creativity. But when you look yourself in the eye and be honest with yourself about the good, the bad, the ugly, well, you can say, all right, I can own that. I'm not proud of it. I don't love that I did it, but here I am today. And now it's time to move forward. You almost feel your chest puffing up and your shoulders going back as you say those things to yourself, right? Because you don't live in a vacuum. Your strengths work in harmony with everything that you do, with everyone you come in to contact with, the folks in your home, the folks at your job, the folks anywhere in your community, when you're going out to the park or whatever, right? Your strengths are there and for you to leverage them. So you're going to definitely want to understand how they work for you and then how they play in relation to those around you, or how they sometimes could hide in relation to those around you. And I think the last thing on self-awareness here is you want to be aware of yourself, but you also want to be aware of how other people view your strengths and behaviors and reactions, right? See, when you develop a good internal self-awareness, I mean, this helps you identify strengths and also can lead to better relationships, a greater job satisfaction, and lowers your feelings of anxiety and depression. Externally, when you have that external self-awareness, it helps you build your empathy and take other people's perspectives into consideration. So you want to be building both. I think the next place that helps you identify your strengths is what's it called? The DISC profile. Maybe I'll throw a link in here into the show notes of where you can get one. I know I've done these, but it helps you identify all these psychological things that are going on, and they ask you a series of questions and helps you identify your strengths, what motivates you, what are your work habits, what kind of behavior patterns serve you, what kind of behavior patterns get in your way, and how can you improve your ability to communicate with people, even those folks that are, different than you. They have different strengths. And when I went through this one, the biggest thing I found, it was a huge light bulb moment for me, because I always tried to communicate with people the way I liked to be communicated with. And through going through this assessment, I realized, you know what? I'm doing that, and that's a problem. And I began trying to communicate with people with the way they preferred to be communicated with. So, I'll use an example in a work atmosphere. I prefer emails. I can control them. I can keep them, stored. I can refer back to them. And so I would send emails like a madman. I mean, even when my email was first coming up, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I could use my email as a to-do list, keep my email. If an email is in my inbox, it means there's still something left to do with it, right? So that's how I thought. That was my strength. And I kept trying to push that onto others, that those folks that love to come up to my desk and talk with me, I'd be like, just send me an email and I'll get right back to you. I was cutting them off. I was cutting off that relationship by using my strength, but not helping them use theirs. I wasn't being empathetic to their style of communication. And this DISC assessment helped take me through that and help me realize that. So there may be some strengths that are great for you, but you're using them at the wrong time. All right. So that's a downfall. And like I said, in the example I gave, I learned from that, was able to move forward. And now I pay attention. There's always these little clues, like words they use and communication styles they have and communication tactics that they have. You can learn someone's strength. Man, I'm getting off on a exciting roll on this one. This is going to take longer than I thought. I think you want to spend some time identifying your character strengths, as I've mentioned before. And there's there's any number of ways you can do that, especially on the internet. I know there's a book out there called Character Strengths and Virtues, and it's a handbook and classifications. But you don't have to go through this whole book, right? I mean, you can go out to any number of the sites for help me identify my strengths. And, there are things like zest and grit, gratitude and love and hope and humor and creativity, the love of learning, wisdom, bravery. Right? Are you wise? Do you learn from experiences and that give you good judgment? Right? Are you brave? Do you face obstacles? These are the strengths you want to find and go, okay, I know what he's talking about now. Are you a spiritual person? Is that your strength? Do you have an appreciation of beauty? Right? Noticing things, just looking at a tree and going, damn, that thing is beautiful, right? Even if there are no leaves on it, there's certain beauty in that, right? You have a strength of fairness, citizenship, kindness, integrity. Bravery. I mentioned that one already. Open-mindedness. Are you curious, right? Identify your strengths. And then also you can, you can get assessment from others. You can ask other folks what they think your strengths are. Ask folks in different environments. Maybe ask your family members for the more home environment, because you may use different strengths at home than in the work environment, and tap your social friends. And you may notice some other strengths tend to appear, and then you'll see some ones that are very similar throughout all of them. Tap the folks in your work environment. Tap the folks in your online environment, the folks that you've never met face to face. So they have to go off your communications. And I think while we're talking about tapping other folks, you want to continue to surround yourself with supportive people. So to people that understand what your strengths are, and help you leverage them. So definitely keep doing that. I say this all the time. Find a coach, find a mentor, someone that's going to help you, someone that's been down the path that you're trying to travel and can help you avoid some of those stumbles, bumbles, and pitfalls. That was good. And someone that can look at you and help you identify your strengths, maybe has already identified some of your strengths and can help you leverage them in trying to accomplish what it is you're trying to accomplish. And I think the last thing I want to leave you here, and I'm sorry if I went off a little bit of a tangent, but I want to give you something to be able to take and go run with. Be careful with what you're good at versus what you're passionate about. I think usually folks' passions lie underneath their core values. Whatever their core values are, your core values are usually going to be that compass pointing the way towards whatever is meaningful to you, whatever is going to give you that life of passion, that life of purpose. But your strengths, right, are just tools, I'm guessing is the best way to put it, to help you reach that. Like I mentioned earlier, we have an athlete that has that natural talent for running, right? Man, I could run super fast. I can run faster than anybody, but it's going to be those strengths, that bravery to break out, that discipline to keep training that talent, to hone it to a razor's edge. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is make sure you align your strengths with your core values, right? You get all that weaponry pointed downrange in the same direction. Man, you're going to be hitting some amazing targets. So get out there and experiment with it, right? I mean, I mentioned a couple of the kind of tools that are out there, like the DISC tool. You can search DISC profile on Google, and it will give you any number of folks, free and paid, where you can get these different tools, but they will help you identify something you probably know at some level, but it might help identify it would definitely help identify some of the nuances that you may not be aware of. And you're like, what is my strengths? What is my personality profile? Oh man, well, it makes perfect sense. I totally resonate with that. But at the end of the day, how can you really know what it is you're good at if you don't damn well try it? Right? You go out there and you take this profile and it says, you're amazing at being motivating. But you've never taken the time to try to motivate anybody, purposefully try to motivate someone. So now you know, and you can go out there and try it. Experiment. Slosh around in the mud, right? Don't be afraid to stumble, bumble, trip, fall, face plant. You're like, all right, well, I tried to motivate that person. They looked at me like I was crazy. But you had fun doing it. It felt good inside. Maybe you just picked the wrong person. I don't know. So get out there and experiment with who you are, with what it is you're passionate about, with what your strengths are, right? And let's see what's important to you about them. How can you impact your life and those around you? Phew. All right. I'm going to leave it right there, right? I can go on this topic for a bit, as you can probably tell. So in our next episode, we're going to be talking about the signs that you might need to break up with your partnership. All right. So be sure to come back and check out that episode on Friday. By the way, if you're looking for some help with your podcast, whether you're trying to launch one, maybe you already have one, and you're looking for some help with the editing and promotion of it, maybe you're still trying to monetize that bad boy, go ahead and reach out to me, Tracy at darkhorseschooling.com, or go to the website, darkhorseschooling.com/coaching. Fill out the form there. We'll get you on a power huddle session. No charge. Just get on the phone, chat. I'll make sure you walk away with a success plan. Again, that's darkhorseschooling.com/coaching. Let's see how I can be of service to you in helping you start, restart, or kickstart your business or your podcast. Now, I know you want to keep getting all these solo success episodes as well as the amazing interview episodes from the guests I'm lucky enough to bring on. So again, make sure you go on there, hit that subscribe button. While you're there, leave us a 5-star rating. Drop us some kind words and reviews. Your way of telling those podcast platforms that you are getting some value from this rambling mouth of mine right here, so that you can help us reach more driven entrepreneurs just like yourself. With that, I'm going to leave you like I always do. Think successfully and take action.
Thank you for listening to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in.
Check us out at www.darkhorseschooling.com.
All right.
My name is Tracy Brinkman.